Freeman.
And away we go.
What did that do today?
Dun, 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 dun,
How the hell are you? I mean, we should be live now, so I like to give it a second, make sure we get live first before I start hitting record anywhere else.
That's a good thing, but at the same time,
I got to remember to hit the.
Yeah, let's make sure you actually remember to hit record because that's a key right there.
For anybody tuning in, today is going to be football heavy. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into some baseball with Joey. We're going to do a second show this week, splitting it up into two shows, having some fun.
You're the one that's going to get all the love. So, like, Joey misses out on tonight. I miss out on tomorrow night. And and
I get to just be here for it all.
You just get all of it. But I guess that's the benefit of being the one with the studio. So,
right?
I guess you get to say that. Also, really digging the snow globe, what that would be called. I don't think that's a snow globe, but it's pretty badass.
It's kind of like a snow globe. So for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, again, this is all like what you get on the YouTube when you tune in live to us. But I believe this is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to get it like out of like some kind of light here. Show people.
There you go. You got to show off.
It's Santa on the beach, and he's chilling.
The snowman on the beach, though, there's a hole in that story.
It's a sandman, not a snowman.
Oh, okay. So he's made of sand, not snow. Okay, I got you. But with Santa's magical powers, he's able to keep
a couple other little things around on the floor. Little decorations in here to make it
that holly jolly spirit.
Exactly.
I put the tree up. I put the tree up yesterday, letting it settle before decorating it. But
we got ours down, and it's up. It's ready. We gotta light it.
We only do real trees in my house.
That's us too. So but that's on me. I don't know how Amanda feels about it, but if it was up to Janice, fake tree. We are fake treeing it up. But I've told her no, and I've made her promise me since we got married. I said every year I get the tree, and we get a real tree. I said until
gotta be real.
And it's just Christmas tradition. I go to Serbo's. I see good friends when I go there, and it's a nice experience. It helps get me in the holiday spirit, and I don't want that taken away from me by a tree in a box in a basement that I got to take out every year and put together. No, I want the real thing.
And you don't get the pleasure of that Christmas tree smell,
right?
Like there's nothing nicer than walking in your house and you just get hit by that pine smell. It's something special. And like what I also so Amanda was fake tree all the way. And I told her before she moved in, I'm like, you need to understand one thing. There will never be a fake tree in my house, ever. I will never allow a fake tree in my house. And she's like, her worry was the cats, right? Because she's like, they might want to mess with it, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, I'll make you a deal. I'm like, we start with a fake tree, and if the cats cause a problem, then I kill the cats. And she was not a big fan of that.
No, I can't imagine she would be.
But I think she relayed that info to them because all they do is give it a quick little whiff. They move on. Life is good. Didn't mess with it at all last year, even once we put the ornaments on there. They were good, so I was good to go with a real tree again this year, and the tradition is now set. And, like, she even has to admit it. She's like, it does smell really nice. I'm like, damn straight it freaking does. It's one of the best parts of it. So
it's one of those things. I just feel like, and again, I'm not one of those people that I have to go and cut it down myself.
No.
But it needs to be a real tree.
Yeah.
And I've been that way ever since when I was with my parents. We always had a real tree.
Yep, same here.
And I just can't give that up. It's something about me. But a little different than you, maybe. I'll never say I won't have a fake tree in the house as long as I can have my real tree as our main tree. As long as the one that the presents go under, the one it's about, the ornaments really go on, that one, as long as that one is there in front of the window, like, the way it's supposed to be, then I'm good. If she wants to take, like, because she's expressed interest in possibly a smaller tree for, like, the dining room. And I'm like, well, maybe I can, like, I can get a little bit on board with that. But, yeah. So
I think is that we got Ryan calling.
We do have Ryan calling, but so I can't say never to a fake tree because again, you've seen my house downstairs.
Yeah.
It's packed full of trees and nutcrackers. That's what we do.
I think that should be our poll question. What hill are you dying on, real or fake tree?
It's got to be.
I think that's a good poll question. I think it's a good way to get us started. We gotta get Ryan connected, and we'll hit that record button. Ryan, you with us?
He should be with us any second.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
We got you.
We got you now. We had to wait for that Bluetooth connection. So, Ryan, before we hit record on the actual podcast, play our intro music and get things started, real or fake tree?
I think you need to put that in the chat too. Just for anybody who pops in.
Having a child right now, fake.
Okay. No other people's opinions considered, impacts, anything like that for you specifically. If you have the choice and it's one or the other, which one would you be going with?
I was always a real tree guy.
My man.
You know, now with everything going on with me, I probably can't have real trees for a little while. But I've always been a real tree guy. That smell.
Exactly. That's what we were just saying. Thank you.
See, I'll be honest. My nose is broken since COVID. Like, COVID broke my nose. I don't know what it is. Very, very, very few smells get through these nostrils now. I can't smell shit. Like, honestly, like, it's the weirdest thing to say. So, like, the smell, it's just like, I can't even get into the smell because I don't smell it.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I honestly, like, part. Yeah, no, there's very few things that smell.
I am very sorry for you.
It's weird.
I mean, I'm sure there's other smells in life that you're glad you don't have to smell anymore, but...
No, but now they make me laugh because when other people smell, I'm like, I don't smell it.
I have the smell master from Richie Rich as a nose.
Oh, so those diaper days must have been a joy for you.
My sister, by the way, Parker made us a tree. But yeah, she doesn't have a tree this year because of my nephew. She was a little worried because he's in the mode where he wants to touch everything. Literally everything.
Yeah.
So she's like, this year I just can't do it. She's like, I'll come and enjoy yours. She put up some decorations and stuff, and she's got like a tree like on the door that's got like these like Velcro things that you can like stick to it. So it's like she has some type of tree, but it's definitely not.
I think Parker's tree is a pretty good looking tree. So
damn Skippy, it is
getting some camera time. Ryan, you cut out for a sec. What were you gonna say?
I said, are we recording right now?
No,
we're just live stream right now.
Live
so the only thing you got to
YouTube.
do is no foul language, or YouTube or cut our stream. So that's the only thing you got to avoid is F bombs and things like that.
I'll leave this story out for another day.
See, I love that he said real tree because honestly, everything I talked to Ryan about, I'm always like, God, if he wasn't an Eagles fan, he'd be one of my favorite people ever. But he's got to be an Eagles fan. Brian, sorry, I had to say that. And honestly, I don't know about you, but since we're football centric today, we're not going to bounce around to the other sports or anything. Maybe we drop that intro music, hit that record button, and get this party started because I really would like to hit the road by like 8 o'clock or so.
Let's do this. So the music you said, right?
Fuck the Eagles.
Oh, so I'm sorry, I must have hit the wrong button there.
We're just bitter fans right now, Ryan. Never thought special teams would end up costing me a game the way it did, and I don't think Eric ever thought the same. So we're bitter right now.
Yeah, we are. All right, so let's hit this music.
And that record button. There we go.
It's good to be back. Yeah. Back again with my friends.
Ready to die on this hill.
Dying on this hill. Which, by the way, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, follow, do all those things. Trying to hit 50 subscribers on YouTube before the end of the year. Don't know if we'll get there, but we're sure as hell going to try. Help us out. If you're checking us out, why not? It's free, it's easy, it's fun. And yeah. So that being said, also joined, not just by our good friend Mr. David Hastings, but also, again, second week in a row, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm good, guys.
Doing you're doing real good. And I feel like you keep calling now because you just want to rub it in about how great Saquon is with your Eagles and how bitter I am as a Giants fan that we're going through absolute hell.
I live in a Giants family, except for me and Bennett, so it's great.
Oh, I'm sure you're loving it.
Now, can I ask how old you are, Ryan? Because I feel like maybe that would factor into why you're an Eagles fan. I'm trying to think of how you became an Eagles fan.
Donovan McNabb, Fred X, the legend Fred X, 4th and 26. I love Terrell Owens.
But that's what I mean. So how old are you? Because that feels like you would be growing up and rooting for them like when you were like teenager-ish. So you were probably, what, in the early 90s born?
88.
88. Okay.
88.
So
No,
yeah.
he's closer than us than you might think.
He
He
is, he
sounds
is.
young and chipper, but when your Eagles locked
I
up
thought
a
he was
playoff
more like
spot,
28 to 30-ish range. And, maybe that's why it was playing in a little bit of why he could be an Eagles fan, because they were good in the early 2000s when they had Donovan McNabb and Westbrook and the rest of those
Brian
guys.
Dawkins, one of my favorite players of all time. I hated the Eagles, but there was just something about Brian Dawkins playing football that you could not. You just couldn't. How could you not enjoy watching
But anyway.
a safety like him? So,
Just went out there the tank every week for those 60 minutes. He just emptied the tank, and Dawkins was just a beast.
yeah, he was one of those guys that even though he played for my least favorite team, he was one of my favorite players. Like, that was a great generation too. Dawkins, Palomalu, Ed Reed. That was a good time. But I do gotta say, I know, like, to me, I've said this for a while, Ryan. Me and you never really dove into this conversation, but to me, I've never thought Jalen Hurts was a very good quarterback. And you're seeing, if you watch how they're playing right now, if you take Saquon out of the equation and give them an average running back, I don't think the Eagles are in the position they're in right now. I don't know if you would agree with that, but that's the feeling I have.
That's a small hill to die on, though, because I'm going to say that's...
Well, you love him because he's a Bama guy. Stop. I ain't worried about your...
No. I'm just saying, like, no. But you would... Yes, this team would obviously be different and may not have some of the same wins. Sorry, Ryan, I don't want to steal your thunder. But that's kind of like... I don't know, you're really dying on any hills with that one. Like, that's... Saquon definitely made a difference with this team, as I knew he would, because they were already a good offense. Now he makes them a great offense. Ryan, what do you think?
So you had DeAndre Swift last year, and you won 10, 11 games. You made the playoffs. He's an average to good running back. You had Saquon in there, and you're, like you said, it becomes a great offense. To go back to your question, Dave, about Jalen, I'm trying to put this politically correct. There's so many sparks of brilliance, but then there's just so many sparks of what are you doing? Like, when you watch the tape back of that game, and AJ Brown has every right to be frustrated. Some of those passes, he's wide open, and he's checking down to my boy Deshaun Dotson and then getting a 2-yard gain when he threw it to AJ and gotten a 35-yard gain on an out route. So you're just like, what is going on? Like, I
can tell you what's going on. Is winners find ways to win. Doesn't always look pretty. Isn't always the best. But you know what? At the end of the day, the Eagles are 11-2, and really, since Hurts has gotten there, they've been a really good team in the playoffs pretty much each year, right? And I mean, he is a running back / quarterback. Yes, he's more mobile than he is, maybe a lethal threat with the arm. But they do have lethal threats on the outside with Smith and AJ Brown and certain targets. So I mean, his averageness maybe at throwing the ball becomes better because he's throwing to great guys who could do special things with it. So I think he's just a guy who wins wherever he goes, whether it was Alabama, whether it was a senior year at Oklahoma, whether it was anywhere else. He finds ways to win games, and he's a really good player. And I almost want to know, though, what happened this week, because is it that the Eagles kind of slipped up a little bit, didn't take the Panthers seriously? They won 22-16, but it wasn't really impressive. What was more impressive, actually, was kind of the way Bryce Young has been able to bounce back since getting benched and then coming in after Dalton gets hurt. And, he's played way better football now.
Yeah.
Is it him stepping up and the Eagles just weren't prepared for it? Like, what kind of happened this week? Because this is a week that almost got stole from them.
I think Bryce Young is the perfect example for young kids to watch, okay? These kids, when they grow up, this might be a little bit of a ramble. When these kids are coming up, they're told they're the best in high school. In college, he was told the best. He came to a Panthers organization that had nobody, okay? And him getting benched was the best thing to do on his career, because you can see that it made him realize, oh, crap, I have to step my game up. That's my honest opinion. That's my honest opinion about him. And I think this Panthers team is not a horrible team. This is the NFL. Any team can beat any team on Sunday. I don't care if that 14 points, that's Vegas. But the NFL, anybody can beat anybody. For all we know, that the Eagles are going to put up 50 on the Steelers. Probably not going to happen. Probably very unlikely, but this is the NFL. Anything can happen in this league on any given week.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. First thing I'm going to push back on a little bit, and Dave knows I preach this all the time. It's not necessarily, I think, that the benching and Bryce Young had to, realize, I got to get better. It's that Carolina can't ever develop a quarterback. Carolina is not a good quarterback development organization, much like the Bears, much like the Browns. There's just certain organizations that can't develop quarterbacks. I just have a weird feeling that the Panthers are one of them. So that's kind of where I put Bryce Young. And again, you're right. He is a kid that was told he was great. He was a kid that was paid $800,000 before he ever took a snap as the starting quarterback at Alabama because NIL money. Like was always told he was that guy. But he's always kept a good head about him. And I think he's going to be good in this league, even if it's not with Carolina, because I don't think Carolina's going to end up keeping him. But I just think, too, that they change coaches and organizations too much. Didn't the Panthers fire their coach this year? Or was it, I believe they did. They have
I thought it was just and
yeah, I think it was their offensive coordinator.
Either way, still, you're changing offenses then on the guy. Like we talk about it with the Bears, you screwed over Fields, you screwed over Trubisky. Every year, if you're bringing in a new quarterback and then firing the coach afterwards, it doesn't help anybody.
No.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I put Bryce Young right now. I think he's got talent. I just think he's got to get the hell out of Carolina to actually have somebody develop it. You see what's happened. Baker Mayfield's had the resurgence with Tampa. It can happen when they get out of those things. The Jets are another organization. Can't ever develop a quarterback. Guess what? Sam Darnold goes somewhere else, and he actually looks like he's
Geno Smith.
pretty good. Geno Smith. Like, there's tons of guys that you look around, and you're like, well, damn. Like, I guess the Jets just really can't develop anybody. And I think
it's a mixture of not developing and also the pieces that you have around you. I mean, Sam Darnold was at the Panthers. He was horrible. He got let go. I mean, that Minnesota offense with Jefferson, I mean, all you got to do is just throw the ball in the air.
But again, the Panthers, that's where he went to afterwards. And that's another team that I just don't think, like we just talked about.
That's what he was saying. He was horrible with the Panthers. And I mean,
but he was horrible because they don't develop
when
either.
He started with the Panthers, they started that year 4-2. And then they fell apart. So he played pretty well, but then it was like teams started busting out the tape, and they were like, "Oh wait, we know how to stop this guy." And outside of Steve Smith, or was it Steve Smith still? I think he might have been retired at that point. But either way, they had McCaffrey. That was their main go-to. So it was just stop McCaffrey, force Donald to beat you, and you had it figured out. But I think I think going back to this Eagles team, back to what you're saying. I think when you watch this team, right, we've talked ad nausea, and Ryan, like you might not, I may not have talked to you about, like, but me and Eric have been doing shows for 12
years,
right? So one thing that I've always been a firm believer in, and Eric and me have always agreed on, right? Like if you can run the ball and play really good defense, then you're never out of a game, right? And I don't see you as being somebody that's going to disagree with me on that one. And the Eagles found that formula. And really what you're seeing is Sirianni getting out of the way for the most part. I saw some Eagles fans were pretty pissed at him, thought that maybe he almost cost them the game against Carolina. But like overall, that's a winning formula, especially when you get to the playoffs. Run the ball, play good defense, and you can win any single game. And that's why Philly's having the year they're having right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I want to touch on something you guys said earlier, which developmental of quarterbacks. The Eagles have been through 3 offensive and 2 defensive coordinators in the last 3 years. And you're still winning 10, 11, 12 games a year, and you're in the playoffs. You have the pieces, you know what I mean? So like that, it takes a lot each year to come in and learn a new system. I mean, you had Ben Johnson, or what was it, Ben Johnson, I think it was, and the other guy who was fired last year. And then you bring in the Kellen Moore, who I think is a good offensive coordinator, learning a new system for James. is, and Kellen Moore was never in like a really like option quarter system. I mean, he had a little bit with Dak, but Dak doesn't really run a lot. Like Dak isn't doing the option, right? Dak's not doing a quarterback key on RPO a lot like Jalen does. So I think there's a lot. I think they're all still trying to find their footing. I always get weary about the Eagles when they play those games when they're big, heavy favorites, because for some reason I know my Eagles that they always play down to that team. That's why, and they always play down. I don't want to say down. That's not right. You give the Panthers credit; they played well. But they always they always keep those games close for stupid reasons. So I think Jalen's going to be okay. This whole thing with Brandon Graham leaking that BS yesterday, BG, you're my man, dude. You got me a Super Bowl once, but why? Shut your mouth. If there's internal issues, we had this stuff going on last year. Now it's rearing its ugly head again. Why? And then you got Sirianni today putting water on that fire and all that other stuff. I understand A.J. Brown wants the ball. You were injured for 4 games too, pal. But you're a very good player. I want to see how A.J. Brown and Hurts do this weekend. My boy Joey Porter from Penn State, maybe locking them down. I don't know. But I think A.J. Brown comes out and has a big week with Jalen, shuts up the haters, and we move on. I think that game's very close this weekend. Steelers are good, man. Russ is back.
Steelers are good, but they're going to be without Pickens, so they're not going to be 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's a big injury before a big game too.
Yeah, so I just got to go to the Eagles. But I mean, the Eagles are probably outside of Detroit, they're the best team in the NFC. So they're the juggernaut I thought they would be to start the year, and they're going to be a hard out for anybody. And listen, they're going to beat the Steelers next week without Pickens. I just don't think the Steelers have enough offense to run with this Eagles team. That's just my opinion.
I am a closet Lions fan. Okay, and
everybody is. So I'll be honest, we've been preaching that for years on this show or on any shows we've been on. Dave, myself, Five, everybody we know, we've been calling the Lions the tryhards for years. We've loved them under Dan Campbell. We are all big Dan Campbell fans here, so you are not alone in that love of the Lions, because I just love the way they play. They started out bottom of the barrel. Dan Campbell had to pick up all the pieces. He did, rallied that bunch, and they've just gotten better and better and better year after year under him. And they are the original tryhards. They won games by trying harder than anybody. They didn't always have the best talent, especially a couple years ago. They didn't have the best talent, but they slowly put it together. And I love what Dan Campbell's doing with the Lions. It's a shame he's not the coach of the Giants, or the coach. I mean, listen, anybody would take him if the Lions were stupid enough to get rid of him. He's had an unbelievable track record. And to be honest, everything I see, the players absolutely
they love him. And he loves his players too. And they know it.
Got them moving like one unit, everybody together. You know, there's no selfishness. He's got them going at one unit, straightforward.
Oh, without a doubt, that is a true team, and that's a team that plays like they're out there playing for each other. They're out there playing for their coaches. They're just a tough team, and they're very talented, top to bottom. They're
ballsy. He's got the balls. Remember when I used to say balls with Dable? He lost them somewhere along the way, and Dan Campbell's never lost his. And this man, for some reason, he loves going for it on fourth down. He gets excited. I think it gives him he gets off on. Like, he gets excited. Yeah,
from it.
You know what I mean? He gets out there for it. They're successful. So I mean,
and he almost And here's the thing: if Jared Goff doesn't make that handoff, this conversation we're having about him is totally different. You're calling him an idiot on fourth down.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's.
No, we still love it. We still love it here.
I get what you're saying, right? That would have been a dumb call to make, and he would have definitely taken it on the chin for it, but he also would have owned it. And I think that's the big thing, right? Just going, like you mentioned, right? Calling Dayballs, right? Like that 2-point conversion that they went for in week 1, 3 years ago against Tennessee that won them the game. was what set them up for the rest of that year and got them into the playoffs, right?
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it's that little faith that you put in your team, and even if it doesn't work, looking at your team and saying, I gave you guys a choice. Do we want to go for the win or go to overtime? And when the team tells you we want to go for the win, and you trust your team and you're willing to give them that shot, even if it fails, you're still getting buy-in from that team and your roster to say, our coach trusts us. Like, we can't let him down next time. You know what I mean? We want to keep earning that trust. And Campbell, I mean, remember when he first got hired in his opening interview, he talked about biting knees off and eating kneecaps and stuff. Like, everybody was laughing at him and on him. And it was that mindset. It was a statement like that is, you know, in a matter of 3 years, 4 years, has turned the entire Detroit Lions organization around. And they're a team that right now, there's not a single team I watch play football right now that looks more complete than Detroit does. Nobody looks more complete than they do.
But what kind of, let me pitch this, since we talked a lot about the Lions, how good they are. What kind of voodoo magic do the Packers have that they're just always a good team? Just always decent. Doesn't matter. Like I said, we've talked about the different quarterbacks, like whether it's Favre to Rodgers to now Love, and, you know, before that Star, and like, you know, they're just always good. And they're, again, good, and they're going to be a hard out for anybody in the playoffs. I think it's funny, and I heard other people mention it, you know, over the last couple of weeks, but the best running backs in the game were all free agent signings this past year. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. Top 3 rushers in the league are all rushers that were signed in the offseason because another team told them they didn't want them. That, to me, it's just like that says something. And I just think he's a man on a mission. He's having a great year. Packers are a good team. They're going to be a real hard out for anybody in the playoffs.
That was at such a devalued position because of the wear and tear on those guys' bodies. But it just goes to see, like, you know, if you have a good one, how much changes your team. You know, like, look at Dallas. I mean, Jerry could have had Derek. He didn't want to pay Derek because it's a devalued position.
Yeah,
nobody did. That's why the Eagles took a chance. He could have went
after Saquon. He could have went after any of them. Saquon didn't want to go to the Giants. Like, yeah, I think he was between
the Cowboys. You mean?
Or the Cowboys? I think it was for him between Philly and the Giants. I think those are the only 2 teams Saquon was considering.
It's hard to be between Philly and the Giants, and the Giants don't even offer you a contract, though.
That's true. But I don't think he had any interest in going to Dallas at all. And look, Jerry is the reason Dallas is where they're at. And I think, you know.
Now, let's go to that game then last night, because screw Jerry, because you're going to go off on him. He sucks. We know he sucks.
I've done it enough.
What I want to know from both of you guys, and especially Ryan, because maybe it sounds like you got some small kids or some young kids. Did you guys enjoy or did you guys check out any of the Simpsons part of the game last night on, what was it, Disney Plus or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was on Disney Plus.
Did you guys check that out? What did you guys think of it? I thought it was interesting, but I don't know if I'd really want to watch an important game that way.
I watched plays and was like, this is just weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, that was basically, I gave it the first quarter. Because I also, like I said, I was telling you before, right? Like, I set up the Christmas tree, and like I had to go up in the attic and get some decorations down. And like yesterday was one of those days where like I actually was like, I can't go to the gym. I have too many things to do at home, and I got to get them done, or I'm going to put them off until the weekend, and then I'll just lose track of time, and Amanda will kill me. So I'm like, I need to go home, and I need to get these things done. And so I'm like, you know what? While I'm putting the tree in and I'm dealing with the things that like I can't sit here and actually watch the game. Like, let me put the Simpsons one on. I'm not going to lie. Seeing that Chase Brown touchdown as Lisa Simpson running with the ball was pretty funny. I thought it was cool. But there's no way I could have watched that for 3 hours. Like, one quarter was more than enough, like, for, like, the rest of the season, if not going into, like, next season. Like, it was enough. Like, it was cute. It was funny. And, like, don't get me wrong. If I had a kid, sure. If it kept them entertained, I could still know what the hell was going on in the game. But even at some point, I would have been like, it's your bedtime. Daddy needs to go to ESPN because this is too much for me. Like,
so it did get overwhelming for you then, a little bit.
I don't want to say overwhelming. It just, like...
It wasn't football.
Because they're all computer generated. You also know it's on a delay because they're trying to run the play with the computer generated stuff based off of the play that just happened. So it's all delayed as well. So you can't even look at social media. You're at least, 2-3 minutes behind. And on top of that, like, it's just... the graphics weren't as good as I actually expected them to be, if I'm going to be honest. I didn't think they were as good as they were going to be.
I think if they do that again, they got to just do it till halftime. 90% of the kids that are into The Simpsons were asleep. You got to think that halftime, it's 10 o'clock at night, a school night. So I think what the NFL is doing is cool. I think you just got to do it to half, and that's it.
I think it was good, a smart move of them to do it with The Simpsons, because that's one that goes back over 30 years now. So you're going to get even some like people of our age that have young kids that might have been into The Simpsons back in the day that would keep it on to check it out. I don't know. So I think it was a good marketing move. I think it was a good move, but I'm with you guys, not necessarily the way I would want to watch a game. But I would really like to, and I'm not going to do this, but poll some kids and wonder what they thought of it. Because to be honest, like that's who it was really meant for.
Like
and
that 6 to 12 range, like that, like kids that actually understand
Yeah.
at some level what's going on, but are still more entertained by cartoons and sports.
Exactly.
I wouldn't mind hearing their opinions, but it'd be a little weird for us to show up at an elementary school.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not
like. Can we
not
ask
getting on
these
a
kids
list.
some questions? Like none of these kids are ours, but can we just ask them some questions?
No. The answer is always no. The answer is always no. And speaking of no, the answer is probably going to be for the rest of the year. Are the Jets going to get any more wins? That's going to be no.
Yeah, we looked at this a while ago. What the Jets' remaining schedule were.
But I mean,
really quick, before we go to the Jets, we didn't finish on the actual Cowboys game. And can I just say, watching Dallas block a punt when it's 2020 with 2 minutes left in the game,
and you're probably like, yes.
and like that's the thing. Like, I've made this very clear before and after the game. I want Dallas to lose.
Yeah.
I want the higher draft pick. They're not going anywhere. Even if some way, somehow, like I found out yesterday from ESPN Stats and Info, if they won last night, their chances of making the playoffs went from 2% to 3%. That's it, right? But before the game, after the game, I want the Cowboys to lose. I want the higher draft pick. But during the game, I want the win. Like, I cannot help myself. It does not matter when common sense kicks in. Like, no, higher draft pick's better. No. But to see them lose like that, and after the block, all you're screaming, every single person is screaming, don't touch the ball. You see their special teams coach waving his arms, get away, get away. The punt returner, get away, get away. Every player on Dallas is literally sprinting to the sidelines to get away from the ball, and this one guy's like, I got it. You don't need to touch the damn ball. Like, what are you doing? Like, and I felt bad for the kid. He's a practice squad player, undrafted rookie. Like, I feel bad for the kid, but at the same time, you've been playing football since you were how young? Everybody knows this freaking rule. I never played a day of football in my life, and I know that rule. What are you doing?
You know where he belongs, though.
On the Giants?
On the practice squad, and not on the actual squad.
Right? What were we just say?
I was trying to make a play. Those guys in the practice squad, they get one shot. It's either you.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets.
You get one shot. Either you. Eminem, one shot, one opportunity. Either make well as it.
Ryan, I'm sorry, but
stop it. Get some help.
No, and you are right. Like, you get caught up in the moment, and I understand that. But you've been playing football for how long? Like, everybody knows that rule. But, like, to have that happen wasn't even the worst part of the night. As a fan, the part that bothered me more than anything else was seeing Demarion Overshawn go down with that knee injury. And this guy blew his knee last year during training camp, missed all of last season. You could tell as the weeks went by, he was getting better and better. And more importantly, you see the kid play, and he loves the game. He's the guy that goes running at the pile and jumps on top of it, not the guy that's like, the play's dead, I can't do anything. He loves the game of football, and you find out today he tore his ACL, his MCL, and his PCL. They're praying there's no nerve damage, and as long as there's no nerve damage, they still think the earliest he returns is the beginning of 2026, which means all of next year is already gone for this kid. So that means in his first 3 years, he's going to miss 2 full seasons with a knee injury to each one of his knees. So, like, shit. And then he gets to play, 12 games? And during those 12 games, he doesn't even have a supporting cast around him on the defensive line so that he can do what linebackers want to do and hit the gaps and fly to the ball. And when he had that opportunity, I mean, he played better when Parsons came back because he had somebody else to take attention and be able to make these plays. And that is the worst thing that happened last night. Dallas, whatever. Neither team looked like they wanted to win that game in the halfway through the third quarter and in the fourth quarter. Like, they got to 20 points and like they both were looking at each other like, no, you win. No, you win, right? Whatever with the win-loss. But seeing that kid have his knee blown out, that was the worst thing that came out of last night for me. My heart broke for the kid. I mean, he's 23 years old, and
isn't the average lifespan of an NFL player though like 3 years?
3.5.
Yeah, so I mean, sad to
unless
say,
unless you're a good quarterback, then you're looking 10 or more.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying the average though is like 3.5.
Nah.
Average NFL player doesn't make it to the second contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
Think about that. Your first rounder, your first contract's 5 years. Your second rounder, you're 4 years. Your third and on, I think their contracts are 4, maybe 3 years.
I think it's 4 years for second and third rounders, and then fourth and beyond, the minimum they can give them is 3. But if they really like the guy, they can do 4.
Well, it's kind of the same way with the first round too. The first round's 4, but if they want to keep him, player option,
and then they can franchise tag him 2 years in a row, so they can really ride the guy for 7 years before even giving him a second contract.
Yep.
It goes back, trying to make the play for the Cowboys. It was his one. He thought he had an opportunity to make a big play and get more playing time. Hopefully, get another contract, not just getting signed off the practice squad. But really, he screwed himself.
Yeah, no, he did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I said, going back to that game, man, that's the only thing I'm going to take out of that Monday nighter was the Simpsons and that Overshawn blew out his knee. And that looks so brutally painful. But this poor kid, he's going to end up back on the practice squad. I mean, Dallas will probably keep him around. I don't see anybody else going to try and steal him off off Dallas's practice squad. But yeah, that was the roughest part of that game, and it's funny. Like some people are making a big deal of Parsons walking off the field, and I'm like, he walked off with 8 seconds left. I don't freaking blame him. I would have been fuming. Like the teams won 2 in a row. They had a game they should have won, and they didn't win the game. And Parsons is a top tier competitor. So I don't blame the guy for being pissed and walking off the field. He doesn't want to shake hands and exchange jerseys with people on the other team. Like, I don't give a crap about that. That's one of my least favorite parts of football now. Right? These guys are laughing and joking with each other after a tough fought game. They're exchanging jerseys. They're, later in the game, wives and kids are on the field. And I'm like, I get your friends, but like, you guys just battled for 3 hours. Like, call each other tomorrow. Call each other when you get back to the hotel room. Call each other when you get back to the house. Like, meet up and grab dinner after the game. I don't give a shit about any of that. But like, we're not besties 2 seconds after a 60-minute battle.
It's a different league now. It's different. It's a different world. Believe it or not, it's weird. That hatred on the field now isn't the same as it used to be.
No, they don't hate each other like that.
No,
they really don't.
It's a business, man.
It is.
Understand.
And speaking of a business, and
that's failing royally.
Royally.
The MetLife Stadium teams.
Yeah, but where I was going to go actually was the Jets for 2 reasons. One was, they're just terrible. And did you hear Aaron Rodgers' latest comments? And then the second thing was, did you see Mark Gastineau? Did you see this clip coming out of the next 30 for 30? It's going to be about the New York Sack Exchange, what it was at the 90s or like late 80s or whatever Jets that, Gastineau had the sack record for a long time, whatever. He apparently gets very upset. And I saw the clip. It's a short clip with Brett Favre where he was like,
You took the dive for Strahan?
Yeah, and he confronts me. He's like, "You hurt me. You hurt me." Like, actually, I wonder. I don't want to get in trouble. If I play the clip, I copyright things, whatever.
Too fresh. It's too
I
fresh.
don't want to do that. But at the same time, like, I suggest the clip is out there. I found it on X. Go check it out. While you're there, like, subscribe, follow, do all those things. If you're watching us on YouTube, do those too. We'd really appreciate it. But yeah, no, going back to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers just came out and completely threw everybody else now that hasn't been thrown under the bus so far under the bus by saying, well, I've only been here a year. I've only really been playing here a year. Like, how can I expect it? How can the team expect it to be so great in just a year? Like, well, everybody is sick and tired of him. I don't know how the Jets could possibly keep him. Like, cut him, do anything with him. He is the reason they're failing. He hasn't had a game-winning drive with them at all. He had a chance this weekend to have a game-winning drive. Instead, he got a tie, and then they go to overtime and they lose. He's not winning ball games for them, and he's the guy that was supposed to be the difference maker for it. Instead they lose to the Dolphins in OT. Dolphins are a better team, but still, the Jets actually could have won a game. Yeah. And again, Aaron Rodgers comes out and throws everybody else under the bus.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for 350 yards this year.
No, but he cheered this week when he broke 300. Threw his hand up in the air after 300.
If you want to hear, I love Rex Ryan. Okay. Rex Ryan on Monday or Sunday NFL Countdown going off about the Jets and Monday morning first get up with Mike Greenberg is awesome stuff to listen to because Rex was a coach for the Jets. And
he wants the job, though, so it's hard to listen to him right now because everything he's doing, he's trying to angle for that job.
And he should. He's what the Jets need.
I don't know if you want to necessarily reach out. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know if you want to. It sounds like a good idea and he's been involved in the game because he still watches tape every week. He's got to review it. He's got to analyze it. Whatever. He's been out of coaching pretty long now, and I don't know if he's just gonna come back and all of a sudden pick up the magic. And especially with Aaron Rodgers there, he's not an offensive guy, and Aaron Rodgers isn't running a very good offense right now. So I don't know how that marriage necessarily works.
I'm a huge Rex Ryan guy. I would love Rex Ryan to go in there and just berate Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers cry and walk away.
I am so sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers. It's not even funny. Like the guy acts like he's the smartest man on the planet, and you're like, dude, you went to Cal.
There's
like,
mental illness. There's not some sort of mental illness going on with him. He's a different breed.
Oh, I wouldn't disagree.
Oh, he
with
definitely
that.
is.
He's off his freaking rocker. That Wasiego or whatever he did in that time. I mean, he was off his rocker before he went there. Ayahuasca, but like that opened his brain, like that opened brain paths that human beings don't need to have open.
Well, let's switch tracks real quick. I want your opinion. Okay, Kirk Cousins.
What about him?
Is it time? Is it time?
Is what time?
Is it time to bench him?
No, you just paid him. You're gonna ride out the year. I think they're still first or second in that division.
Who?
It's hard. It's hard to watch.
The Jets?
No.
Oh.
He wanted to pivot, so we're pivoting off of that to Atlanta now. He wants to know about Cousins. Their game up on or their game back at Tampa. Yeah, he hasn't looked great, but Cousins doesn't always look great. He's had his moments when he was with Minnesota. He was always known as he couldn't play in the big game. He was a 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins, but you didn't want prime time. You didn't want you didn't want prime time Cousins. So not that they've had many primetime games this year, but he's with a new team. They're around 500. They're still one of the more talented teams in that division. They're going to be fighting with Tampa. And again, at Tampa, if Mike Evans goes down, somebody else goes down, this could easily be a Falcons division to take. So now they're sitting, one game out of a playoff spot? It's very possible they could be there.
Technically, they're one. No, because the 7 seed right now is Washington at 8-5. So they're technically 2 games back out of a playoff spot. But Washington still has to play Philly. They still have to play Dallas again in Dallas. So there are games that Washington could
And they
lose.
started 7-2. They're 1-3 since that start.
It goes to show you those rookies come out, and Jaden Daniels was on fire, but then the NFL learned about him.
Yeah, but he's going to be good. He's going to be somebody that I'm not going to want to face as a Giant fan for the next 10 years.
I always say this about a rookie quarterback, no matter how good their season. I even said it about Dak in 2016 when he split Rookie of the Year with Zeke, right? You know what a quarterback is after their 3rd season. Because their first season, the league doesn't have enough tape on them. Their second season, they have to adjust to defensive coordinators having enough tape on them. And then the third season is when the chess match really starts because everybody's on a truly equal playing field. So your third season to me is the one that really dictates what kind of career I think a rookie quarterback is going to have is once they get to that third season and how they play in that third season. That to me is the year that determines what a quarterback's going to be in the NFL. So
he's on pace, and he's on the path to being successful. So
yeah, he's had a great start, and it helps too. Kingsbury's a great coach for a great offensive coordinator, I should say, because he definitely is not a great head coach. He's a great offensive coordinator for a quarterback like him. And look, if he has another good season next season, Kingsbury will probably get another head coaching opportunity, whether it be in the NFL or college. But like I know, like for me, right, like people have talked about bringing Kingsbury in to be the head coach in Dallas, like. Dak Prescott, like you literally said it before, right? Prescott's not a scrambling quarterback. Kingsbury offense relies on having a running quarterback. It relies on it. If you don't have that, his offense will not succeed. So, like, that wouldn't, like, there's so many coaches out there that they could hire that would piss me off less. There's only one that would make me really happy, and that's Ben Johnson, the offense coordinator in Detroit. But every team in the NFL that wants a head coach is going to want him. But yeah, I think you look at Washington, you look at the playoff race in Atlanta and where Atlanta's at. I don't think you bench Cousins, but I do think you maybe start implementing 5 to 10 plays for Penix that fit what he does well so he can start getting used to the NFL game speed. And if they lose 1 or 2 games left, then yeah, I would end the season with Penix starting so that you could say, hey, we got a guy we really believe can do this, or we're going to, we don't, and we wasted it for a top early first-round draft pick.
To me, the draft pick never made sense to begin with because why would you go out and sign Cousins for over $100 million for 4 years and then draft a quarter like that high? It didn't. None of it makes total sense. And I got to be honest, I don't know what the Vikings are going to do next year quarterback either because Sam Darnold, I think, is on a 1-year deal.
Yep.
And they're going to have J.J. McCarthy coming back, who they had a high pick on.
Well, they got to be cautious. McCarthy had to go in for a second surgery on his knee. An infection got in there, so they had to do another one.
You got to pay Sam.
I don't know if you do. I'm not paying him $30+ million a year. For one season? You can't do it all for one season.
If anything, I'd tag him. This way, it's a clean deal. It's over and done with. There is nothing else. Just put a tag on him. He gets the average of the top 10 salaries in the NFL. So he's gonna get a pretty freaking penny. But like, there's no signing bonuses they're still saving cap by just doing a franchise tag. So I mean, that would be the route I would go.
Because I honestly think Sam Darnold's more of a lightning in a bottle. He struck at the right time with the right team. He kind of got going. He got. I think it's a matter of circumstance with him and as well as he's playing right now. Like, so I'm not as high on signing Darnold for big money in the offseason. I think some team's going to do it. I think he's going to get north of $25 million a year. I wouldn't give it to him.
I think you have to. If you had J.J. McCarthy this year, I don't think the Vikings win 10 or have 10, 11 wins like they do right now. 10 wins or whatever they have.
Yeah, they're at 11-2, so I would agree with you on that. I think they maybe 8.
That happens. So I think, and especially if McCarthy's knee is having a second one done, you got to give Sam another run next year. Tag him, give him another 1-year deal, 2-year deal. Keep JJ learning behind him. And you go back to Green Bay, right? Green Bay does a great job of drafting quarterbacks and having them learning from the quarterback in front of them.
Aaron Rodgers, careful with that because Favre wasn't much of a teacher to Rodgers. Rodgers wasn't much of a teacher to Love. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Well,
if you go back over the history of it, they wanted it to work that way. It's not necessarily the way it worked, though. Those quarterbacks are good because they know how to develop quarterbacks. Something, again, the Jets, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Browns, the Bears.
Their head coaching choices help, too, right? Holmgren to McCarthy to LaFleur. Like, they did really good with coaches that work well with quarterbacks. I mean, that helps.
All these teams that develop quarterbacks, you look at their head coaches, right? They've had a head coach there for a long time. It starts there and goes, in my opinion, it starts with the head coach and trickles down effect. Packers, good at developing quarterbacks. You know, you have Andy Reid. Okay, developing Patrick Mahomes is good, but he's developed since he first started.
Oh yeah.
Now these good coaches are the ones that develop these quarterbacks.
I think
Bill Belichick. I mean, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So, but
I think the perfect organization to really use, even though they don't develop them to some insane level, look at Pittsburgh. We've had 3 head coaches over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Or to go to Ryan's point of head coaches, you think about Andy Reid, what he was able to do with Donovan McNabb and Jeff Garcia and other people he had in Philly. Then he goes to Kansas City and he resurrects Alex Smith's career, and then drafts and takes care, and now has Patrick Mahomes, 3-time Super Bowl winner. So he's another guy that, yes, coaching absolutely makes a difference, and good quarterback coaches, guys who can coach them up, are invaluable in this league, because that's what it takes. You got to have a stud at the top, and I just think I want to go back to the Jets real quick. I don't think that's what they have. I have no idea what they do. I think they are in such shambles, such a mess, that to me at 3-10, like they would have won this week, like maybe you could have got a little bit better feeling. Okay, next year maybe there's something there, but losing every week, week after week, with the way they're losing, I just don't know how they could possibly bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, their only chance for a win on the rest of their schedules this coming week at Jacksonville. That's their only chance. That's it. I mean, other than that, they got Miami, they got Buffalo, and they've got the Rams, who the Rams are probably one of the scariest teams if they can get everything put together consistently. I mean, that game against the Bills was probably one of the best games of the entire year.
Yeah.
But
love watching Stafford throw the football. My God, love watching Matt Stafford throw the football. All the different arm angles, all the different throws. Just
speaking of not watching people though that like to throw the football, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Stafford can throw the ball. I don't want to get too deep into that Rams game because I just think we're running short on time here.
Yeah, we're getting tired.
But yeah, the Bills, they're on the road going to the West Coast. Stafford can look good. Stafford was good with the Lions. He's not a bad quarterback. He and with the weapons they have, Puka. I think Puka's back now. Isn't he? Was healthy this week.
He had 12 for 162 and a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cooper Kupp, when he gets his weapons, he could be as dangerous as any quarterback in the league. I have to agree with you, Ryan. Like, he can be that kind of guy, but he has to have the weapons around him to do it. He can't make something out of nothing the way I feel like Patrick Mahomes can, where you can throw any wide receiver at him and he's going to find a way to use him. I don't feel that way with Stafford, where he has to have the guys, but once he has the guys, then he's dangerous. Do you kind of agree with that, disagree with that? What do you think?
Agreed. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, if we're running out of, I need your thoughts on Alabama not being in the playoff.
All right, we're going to get there. We got a couple more games to cover here first, and we're going to go into some picks for next week. Perfect. And then I will let you shit on my
Ryan,
Bama.
I told him about the text you sent me. Like, I don't know.
I will let you shit on my Bama.
I don't know if I want to join. He might be fuming from that.
No, again, we'll discuss why I'm a little but I mean, to stick on our trend of quarterbacks tonight and teams that just can win with anybody and other teams that can't win no matter who they draft. The Bears absolutely get shellacked by the 49ers. And
We're playing on like half a leg.
Yeah. It's like, it's embarrassing at this point. I mean, the Bears only putting up 13 points. They went out. They were supposed to be, oh my God, everybody was the Bears offense when they got Keenan Allen. They draft Rome Odunze, traded for Moore. Did all these moves. Cole Clement, who's supposed to be this good, athletic tight end.
Got me 0 in fantasy. Thanks, Cole.
You know what I mean? Like, you have Caleb Williams throw, what would he go? 134, 2 TDs this week, but not impressive, and he's not winning games. He's not doing what it takes. You look at the other side, Brock Purdy back off of injury, 325, 2 TDs, and they roll. Again, it doesn't matter who they start with, running back either. They run all over you. They're just a solid team. They're another team in another organization that's always run well, always had good coaching. But Chicago just can't get it right. And I screamed it last year before the draft. Caleb Williams is not going to be a great NFL quarterback. He's not. And the Bears are going to ruin him. Right. Whatever chance he had is gone.
Ryan, this is especially me and Eric, we are both like, even before the draft, Like when we didn't know where he was going to go, but everybody assumed he was a number 1 pick. Like me and Eric, that was one of the first hills we died on for this show, was that Caleb Williams is not a number 1 overall pick, and neither one of us think he has a bright future ahead of him.
I will jump on that hill with you guys.
My man.
Caleb is not good. The schoolyard bullshit. Sorry, the schoolyard BS that he.
You can say bullshit down. We're deep enough in.
Yeah, it's like first 10, 15 minutes with YouTube.
That he tries to pull running around. This is the NFL. That stuff doesn't work. Yes, it works at SC because it's college football. That stuff works in college. Okay, you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet. You have 2 yards at halftime against the Niners.
2
Niners
yards.
good defense.
That is
I'll give you that.
embarrassing.
Embarrassing. You just paid Keenan Allen $10 million a year. 2 yards at halftime. The kid's ruined. I didn't like him when he was at Oklahoma. I didn't like him when he was at USC. I don't think he's very good. The Bears messed up getting rid of Field. My Uncle Billy and Nor went out to the game this past weekend because my Uncle Billy's a Bears fan and my Aunt Nor is a Niners fan. So they went out there, and I was texting the whole time going, he's just not good.
No.
Caleb,
I mean,
they screwed up.
It doesn't help when you got sacked 7 times and lost 46 yards. I got the stats up. I'm not. Nobody out there better think I'm a statistician or anything. I got the stats up in front of me. But sacked 7 times for 46 yards. Look, their offensive line is not that good. But going back to what you said, the schoolyard bullshit is how he knows how to play quarterback. And what does that do in the NFL? It leads to you getting sacked, because when you're in college and you play like that as a quarterback, right? There's maybe 1 or 2 guys on most teams that you play. At the most, there's 1 or 2 guys that have NFL caliber talent in college football on that defensive side of the ball. So you get to play that schoolyard nonsense, right? Because there's really nobody on the field that's as good as you. When you
Correct.
get to the NFL, basically everybody is as good as you, and that defense has 11 guys put together that were pieced together from that 1 or 2 guys from each of those college teams to make that 11. So now you're playing against 11 guys that can put up with your nonsense and get to you, compared to 1 or 2 guys that can be schemed against and taken out of a game. So it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And I mean, until he figures out how to play in the pocket, his 3-step drop, 2-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step drop, maneuvering inside of the pocket, until he figures that out, he's got no chance at a successful career. And going back to what Eric said, Chicago's not the place that's going to teach him how to do that. They're just not.
And he can run. That's a good asset. That's a great asset to have as a quarterback. But you got to run north and south. This east and west stuff that he's doing, running left and right, dodging people and then getting sacked for minus 15, 16 yards, it doesn't help your team.
No, but it goes right back to what Dave was saying, though. He thinks he's playing schoolyard ball. He thinks he's still the most athletic guy out there, and he's not anymore. There's a whole team of people out there on the defensive side just as athletic as he is.
Some even more.
Exactly. So, where he used to get away with that because he could run sideways and be able to be an extra step quicker or be able to hit somebody with a move and get around him. He can't do that in the NFL because those same tricks, those same things don't work. So I'm with both of you guys. He's got to figure a way out of that. But I think his only way out of that is demand a trade out of the Bears into an organization that could actually develop him. I think that's the only shot in hell this kid has. But
Ryan dying on the hill with us, baby. Let's go. We're sucking you into the team, Ryan. We're sucking you in.
But speaking of what is, I don't know, I'm not even going to make the joke. I was going to make a bad joke about the Chiefs and the refs and what they may do in their private time. But anyway, that's the next game I want to go to here. Because is anybody luckier than these fucks?
No.
Like, is anybody luckier than the Chiefs? No. Like, come on. They're on the brink of losing that game, and they doink one in. Like, come on. Like, you got to be kidding me. This team, if they are not destined for a three-peat, then I don't know what all this luck is about. Because all season long, they've gotten every bounce. They've gotten every call. They've gotten everything all season. It's all going their
David-
way. If they get kicked in the dick in the Super Bowl, if they make it to the Super Bowl and don't win it, that would be the ultimate kick in the dick.
And a lot of people would celebrate because they're already reaching that point of the Patriots where people are tired of watching them win.
Nobody's even the great Patriots never three-peated.
True.
So that's where it's special. That's the reason that Kelsey and them came back.
The luck has to run out. They can't keep just winning by 1 point. And just to go back to the Caleb Williams thing, Patrick Mahomes' offensive line is horrible, yet he finds a way to win. He's not running left and right. He's running forward now a little bit more because his offensive line sucks. But the Chiefs, that luck has to run out. You can't just keep. You have a new kicker every week, right?
Yep.
They had a new kicker on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Because Harrison Buckner is hurt. They're on their fourth kicker. That's going to run out. No offense. If you're on your fourth kicker of the year, that guy was a banker at Wells Fargo last week.
But yet
the
somehow the Chiefs, he comes in and it's like he's blessed by medicine men or something, and they come in
Little Indian rain dance around.
They do something has to happen. There is some type of magic that happens in the Chief in Arrowhead with the Chiefs. Or not even in just Arrowhead, but with the Chiefs just in general, where they're not losing right now. And they're not 12-1. They look destined. Everything about this team, I look at it and I watch win after win. And I'm like, another game. They never cover a spread. Every game is like a nail biter practically, but yet they get every bounce. I don't get it.
So think about this. Okay, I was reading this the other day. If the Chiefs did not win every one of those close games on the last possession, they would have the first overall pick right now.
That's crazy.
That's how, but I mean, like, that's, but one thing I've always said to Dave, you remember this for years, Ryan, I'm going to say it to you. One thing I won't bet against is a streak. Don't bet against the streak. And right now, I feel like they're streaking. I feel like they are destined
he told
for
me that,
something special.
He told me that when I picked the Packers to beat the Cowboys in the playoffs last year. And he's like, they've won 16 in a row at home. They're not going to lose at home. Don't bet against the streak. I'm like, all right, Eric, they're going to lose.
Then they haven't won at home since, right?
And they've won once at home against the Giants on Thanksgiving. But yeah, no, that's rough. But the Chiefs in general, I think, Eric, you said it before, right, when we were talking about the Eagles. Good teams find the way to win. They don't always win pretty. Sometimes you got to win ugly. The Chiefs are a good football team. They just don't look good. That's really all it is. And I mean, like to tie it to Philly, right? Maybe we end up with another KC Philly rematch. I don't know, but it's the same idea. It's not like Philly looks like world beaters. You know what I mean? Kansas City looks even worse than that. But they're pulling out wins. They're doing what they need to do to win these games. So. I mean, overall, it's just one of those things where, you know, when you got a great quarterback like Mahomes, you got a great coach like Andy Reid, you got a great defensive lineman like Chris Jones. You just kind of start putting things together, and great things can happen. But it's funny. Eric's flipping through next week's games for picks. And like we're having this conversation, and if you go up, he stopped at the Cowboys-Panthers game, and with how the Panthers played against the Eagles for the first time all season, the Panthers are actually favored to win. They're actually giving Dallas 2.5 points at home, and I just think that's hysterical.
So I always start there because I wasn't going to pick it. I wasn't going to pull this game to pick because I was like, there's a lot of shitty games, but then there's a few really great ones.
All right, so
there's a ton of crap, but a few great ones. Let's pick this one only because, like you said, this is the first time Carolina is going to be favored in a game. How are they going to do as a favorite, even though they're home? Bryce Young playing better. Cowboys 4-2 on the road. Dave, it's your team. I'm going to let you pick it first. What are you doing with this game? Over under 43.5 is what we're looking at here. It's, I don't know. Interesting.
Give me Dallas getting the 2.5 and give me the under. 43.5 is the over under. Give me Dallas getting the 2.5 and the under. I think Dallas's defense bounces back. I think losing Overshawn's going to hurt him, especially trying to stop Hubbard in that run game. But I think if they put them in positions where they have to throw the ball, I think Dallas's pass rush can get home to Chase Young. And I think Dallas's offense showed you what they were. I mean, what drove me nuts last night, right? You hand the ball to Dowdle, he gets 18 yards on one carry, and then their next 3 plays are pass, and then they punt. Like, McCarthy says he wants to get back to the run, and then he gets to it, and then he goes right away from it again. Like, I don't understand it. But I think this is going to be a game where Dallas focuses more on the run. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because I think both teams are going to try and run the ball. But I think Dallas is just the better team, and I think they end up coming out with a win. So I'll take Dallas getting the 2.5. Ryan, what about you? Carolina giving 2.5, over under 43.5.
I will take Carolina giving 2.5.
Ouch.
They showed me a lot of moxie playing my Eagles. I'll take Carolina minus 2.5, and I will take over 43.5.
All right.
See, I'm going to split what you guys are doing, and I actually like the Cowboys getting 2.5. Panthers may win, but again, if they do, it's going to be real close. I don't think they win in any kind of blowout. I think Dallas's defense does bounce back a little bit. But I'm with Ryan, and I'm going to go with the over because I think that's a short. I think it's a 43.5 isn't a lot of points. You're talking 24-21 gets you over. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, or even 23-21 gets you over. So that's where I could see this game 23-21, 23, somewhere, 24-21, like that kind of game. But yeah, give me the Cowboys getting 2.5 and the over.
That's definitely a split.
This is one of these games where what does Vegas know? That's what I call this game. The Panthers should not be giving Dallas 2.5 points. Dallas has 5 wins. Panthers have 3 wins. Okay, Dallas is definitely the better team, but what does Vegas know?
Are they really the better team though with Cooper Rush? I think it's arguable. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's as big as a difference between the two teams as you might. I think there's a big drop off from Dak to Cooper Rush.
Great. He did make some throws. I'll give Cooper Rush that. A couple nice throws.
Yeah, he made a couple nice throws, and he had some throws that you were like, dude, that was horrible. Like, you had dude wide open, or like if you put that in the right place, like. That's why he's a backup quarterback. Like, I think he's a good backup. I'm never mad every year Dallas brings him back as their backup quarterback ever. But he's not a starter.
No.
But going to our next game here, where we do have a starter back, and he played really well last week against the Bears defense. I want to go to this Thursday night game because it's intriguing. Rams 7-6 fighting for a playoff spot. They're also fighting for the division, a game back of Seattle, I think it's 8-5. And the 49ers 6-7, but with Purdy back look a lot better. So 49ers actually home, giving 2.5 to the Rams, over under 49.5. I think both teams can score. I don't think either team is going to have a problem scoring. So I like the over in this game. But to be honest, I kind of like the 49ers given the 2.5 because at home and with Purdy back, I think they're just a better team. And even though the Rams are surging now and they look better since they got healthy, it's going to be close, which is, again, I think a 3-point game, which is why I'm going to lean towards San Fran, 2.5, because I think they cover by 3. But I think both teams are going to score. And I look at this game, and it's, to me, one of the better games of the week. I don't know how you guys feel. Oh, wait, hold on, wait, real quick, Ryan. I think we got something from the chat Dave's going to throw out.
My shout out to Mama Dukes watching this live stream here on YouTube. She just put in the chat, I'm coming for you in fantasy, Eric. Look out for the Friskinators. Dowdle is going to go off, and I'm sick of the Chiefs. So I just had when I saw.
Wait, is that the league I'm currently 14-0 in?
Yeah, that's the league you're currently 14 and 0.
14-0 going into the playoffs. First round bye. I think I get in the playoffs too.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. No, I just don't. I would never. I literally have never seen a team run the table in fantasy football. So I've gone undefeated, and I literally lost my first game after the bye week. I've never seen the year Brady had Moss and set the touchdown passing record. I had him. I had Gronkowski. I Jimmy Graham. I had DeMarco Murray, Arian Foster. I ran the table, and then Brady played the Jets in the snow at MetLife Stadium, got me like 8 points, and I was eliminated after going at that point 12-0 or whatever it was in the regular season. So I nothing personal. I obviously got to root for Mama Dukes. I mean, I can't.
Doesn't she have to win her first round matchup to even get to me? So she's got a little work to do.
She knows what mountain she's got to climb, what hill she's got to die on.
I got a solid team though. You got to admit it's solid.
I'll give you that. But back to this because the stomach's growling, and I definitely want to hear Eric's thoughts on Alabama. So
give me what you're thinking on this game. Then.
So you went.
I went San Fran and the over.
So San Fran giving the 2.5 and the over. I'm actually going to go with the Rams getting the 2.5, and I'm going to also go with the over though. Ryan, what do you think?
Same with Dave. Love Matt. I think Parker Nakula and Cooper Kupp, they're just gelling right now. I think that offense is rolling now that they're getting healthier. Definitely, I think Rams 2.5. Take it. And over 50. I say 50 should be easy, but knowing my luck, I just said that you're going to hit the under.
All right, so go bet the under, even though I picked the over. Got it, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Put your house on it.
No,
man,
to me, the two most embarrassing lines of the week. Now, we're not picking these games, so I'm just hitting them real quick. We're not even going to pick them. But seeing the Giants getting 14.5 at home, more than 2 touchdowns at home, and then the over-under is only 43.5, so they really don't think the Giants are going to score anything, is absolutely atrocious. We're not picking it because it's not even worth picking. But the other game not worth picking that belongs in the toilet bowl or the shit show of the week. Bring back the shit show of the week. You know,
So Ryan, when we used to pick games back in the day before we started doing point spreads and stuff, we had different so my game was Hastings highlight of the week. Then there was shit show of the week. Then there was the toilet bowl of the week. We had Aguilaro's aggravation of the week because our buddy Mike that we used to do this with. He was in the survivor pools, right? So he had to pick the game. His game was always the game that he was going to pick. So it was his aggravation of the week. So we had some fun with the wordplay and stuff, but none of us kept track of our picks, and we realized without doing that, it really kind of took the fun away from having those games. So now we switched over to the point spreads and all that stuff. But so your shit show of the week.
Shit show of the week.
Is gotta be, I mean, you could flush this thing right down the shitter. The Jets at the Jaguars. But what's blowing my mind about this absolutely atrocious game is how the hell are the Jets on the road giving 3.5 to anybody?
So Vegas basically has them winning by 7 on the road.
It's insane.
Right, because you give three to the home team.
Ryan pointed out a minute ago, who in Vegas knows something that we don't know? Because when I look at that line to me, I'm going, something's off there. Something don't look right. It doesn't pass the smell test. What's going on with that line? Because the Jets have shown you nothing to think they should be a 3.5 point favorite over anybody, and especially on the road.
Because what's-his-face isn't playing? Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. They got Mac Jones. Just good right now. It doesn't bother me. What?
In my opinion, Vegas is it's a backup quarterback versus the Jets. Jets defense
I'm jumping on that line. I will put at least $5, a whole 5 big ones down on Jacksonville plus 3.5. And then what's the over under in that game? I'm not gonna. Okay, we're not picking it here.
40.5.
I probably the under because both teams don't have much of an offense. So. Yeah, I mean, that's wild. But, no, I want to get to some of the better games of the week. I just had to look at those and just say the dumpster fire that is New York football in general.
Really quick before we move on, I sent this text. I don't think I sent it to the group text I'm in with you, Eric. And Ryan, I know I didn't send it to you. So somebody posted this question. If Disneyland or Disney World, whatever, is the happiest place on Earth,
I saw this.
Then what is the saddest place on earth? And one person responded with just a picture of MetLife Stadium, and I was dying. I was like, "Oh my god, that is just cold blooded right there." But it is also very, very true. But yeah, no, let's rail through all of these because these all have playoff implications.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
Ryan, you didn't get to go first, so we're going to let you go first on this one. You got Miami at Houston. Houston's giving 3 points, over under 46.5. What do you got?
Miami at Houston. I don't trust Tua, but he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Jonnu Smith is good. Their offense is good. The defense is horrible. Bryce Young seems to have taken a step back this year.
Second
He's
year.
not-
I told
CJ
you.
Stroud, you mean?
CJ
Oh, yeah,
Stroud,
yeah.
Wait till his third year. That's when we know
But
what
again,
Bryce
Nico
Young is.
Collins hurt for a while. They've had a bunch
they
of
lost
they had-
Stephon Diggs for the year.
for the year.
a couple weeks
Like
ago.
it's he's had some things to some adversity to overcome.
Give me Miami and the points, and definitely I think over 46.5.
I'm going with Ryan. I like the Dolphins as well. Not by a lot, but give me them getting 3.5 for sure. They're trying to fight back and trying to get into a playoff spot. The only way they're going to do that is they got to win a lot more ball games. At 6-7, they're not out of it yet. They win their last 4 games, or 10-7, and they're probably in. So they it's got to start this week. They can't afford a loss. So I think that the Dolphins need this game a little bit more than the Texans do, because the Texans are going to win that division. So give me the Dolphins and give me the over, because I think both teams are going to score.
And the Dolphins are going to a warm weather game. We know that. That's
right in that dome, nice and safe. See, you pointing that out definitely locks in the over for me. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That over, I'm taking it all day. Watch, and kind of like you said before, Ryan, watch. It's like a 10-7 game. But I'm gonna I'm taking the over on that game. But I'm also gonna take Houston given the 3, because I think Houston's the better team overall. And Houston has a better defense, which means I believe they'll make more stops than Miami's able to. So I'm going to take Houston given the 3, and we're a clean sweep on that over. So then that moves us to, we're finally out of the 1 o'clock games.
425 slot is a good one.
425 slot's a very good one. Even though going into this year, I would not have said this is a playoff implication game. You've got the Colts going to Denver. Denver got to 8-5 with Bo Nix, and the way he started his season, I don't think anybody would have pictured them at 8-5. The Colts have bounced back and forth between Flacco and Richardson. They're now sitting with Richardson again. They're rolling with him and hoping that he can turn into the quarterback they drafted him to be. Denver's giving 4 points with an over-under of 44.5. Denver's offense has really been playing good football. Indy is a roller coaster on offense. You don't know what you're going to get week in and week out. Their defense is average at best. Denver is one of the better defenses in the league. I'm going to take Denver given the 4, and I'm going to take the under.
I will take Denver giving the 4. I think Bo Nix might be the real deal. Might be too early to say, but I like what I see out of him. My buddy Erich.
Coaching, Sean Payton.
Coaching.
But I think
Diehard
that's
Broncos
the difference
fan.
with this Broncos
That's
team,
right.
though.
Yeah.
Payton knows how to coach these quarterbacks up.
Yes, he does. Drew Brees was not a Hall of Famer.
So do you like
when he
the
got
over
to
then,
New
or do you
Orleans.
like the under there, Ryan?
Over on that one. I think there's going to be points scored in that game.
See, I'm going with you guys with the Broncos, but I'm going the under. I think the Broncos are the better team here. Bo Nix been playing well. Offense, Cortland Sutton's looked like a number 1. Defense has been really good. So they're kind of rolling 4-2 at home. I like them. So give me them, but I like the under. I think even though I like the Broncos offense, they're still not a team that's going to put up 35 or 40 most games. So I think this one's going to be a little bit more low scoring. So give me the Broncos, though, given the 4 and the under.
All right, so you're with me, but we're a clean sweep on the Broncos.
Clean sweep on the Broncos.
So arguably what would be considered the best game of the week.
I don't even want to hear an argument out of you, Ryan, about it. It's got to be the best game of the week.
I mean, your game is second.
Your game would be
close
second,
but
this one's got to be number 1.
Buffalo at Detroit. Josh
Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, potential.
Potential.
I mean, Josh Allen literally just contributed to 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing, no turnovers, and his team lost. So you got to know
Yeah.
this defense is going to come into this game with a chip on their shoulder, pretty freaking embarrassed. But Detroit is a team on a mission. Like every now and then you get that team that you just watch and you're like, whoa. Detroit also is in a division where there's the 9-4 Packers and the 10-4 Packers. No, 9-4 Packers and the 11-2 Vikings in their division. So the Detroit can't let up. And then you got Philly at 11-2. So Detroit literally has to keep winning games if they want that 1 seed, which you know they do.
100%.
Where you got Buffalo, a team that the division's pretty much locked if it's not already clinched. And the AFC outside of Kansas City, there's really no you got them in Pittsburgh at 10-3. So I mean they're in that window of saying, hey, we potentially can get to the 1 seed because we did beat Kansas City heads up. We could fall as low as the 3 seed, but we kind of as long as we can get at least 1, maybe 2 home games, we're sitting pretty because nobody wants to go to Buffalo in January. So
No.
I think this is going to be an amazing game. Over-under is 53.5. I'm taking the over without even hesitating. Detroit's giving 2.5. I think I'm going to go with... I think Detroit wins by a field goal. And
So then there's your pick. You got Detroit giving 2.5.
You got Detroit. Yeah, I'm going to go with Detroit giving the 2.5 and the over. That's what I'm going to go with.
I'm going to disagree with you because the Bills are that team, especially in the regular season. The Bills are the one. Josh Allen is the one to hand Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid a loss. They're not undefeated this year. Why? Because of the Bills. The Bills are that team coming off a tough loss, like you said last week. Defense coming in, chip on their shoulder. Come on.
How about that D, baby?
So I think this week, and as much as you guys know, we've talked about it, the Lions, how we all feel about the Lions. I think the Bills knock them down. I think the Bills give them a second loss. I think the Bills are a team that could be that team that goes into Detroit and wins. I think they have the horses. I think the way Josh Allen is able to run the ball well, do the things he does, I don't think that it's going to be a blowout by any means. But if you're telling me I can get 2.5 points, I'm going to take the 2.5. And I'm going to take, I think because we talked about the chip on the shoulder and the defense, I'm actually going to take the under in this game. So give me the Bills and give me the under. And I think that's how it goes because I think they hand the Lions their second loss. Still think the Lions are with the Eagles, one of the top 2 teams in the NFC. No doubt they're one of the 2 teams I think pretty much going to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. But this week they get beat at home by the Bills. I'm dying on that hill.
All right, see what
I will take
me, Ryan. Who you going with? You sticking with me? You going with Eric? Or you doing a split?
I'm going with Erich.
Oh,
I mean,
come on.
The Lions are good, but the injuries on defense scare me. Josh Allen is an animal. He's in a league of his own. I think I'm going to take the points with the Bills, and I think over 53.5. I think the bounce back from the Bills, they're not taking that loss lightly. They made a hell of a comeback at the end of that game to get it to where it was. And I just think the Bills and Josh Allen are just a force.
I mean, the guy's got to be your favorite right now for MVP. I think it's either him or Saquon Barkley. I mean, I really think those are your 2 favorites, and then Lamar's third. Like that to me is probably your MVP race right now, and they never give MVP to a running back. So, but yeah, so you're taking Buffalo getting the 2.5, and you're taking the under.
Over.
You're taking the over. So you did Buffalo.
I took the under.
Okay, so you split with us because I took the over, but I took Detroit. Okay, all right. I like splits. That's always the
We
most.
split
fun.
it up there. And
Now,
then
one thing we know that we're gonna have to let you go first on this one. Your Eagles at home, giving 5 to their in-state rival Pittsburgh Steelers. I really wish this turned into more of a rivalry, but I really don't feel like it truly is. But maybe in Philly, maybe
rivalry?
in Pennsylvania it is. I don't know. But Ryan, your Eagles are given 5 points. Your over/under is 42.5, 425 on Fox, which means you get blessed with the wonderful Tom Brady as your commentator. Have fun with that. But what are your thoughts here? Which way are you going on this game?
So Tom Brady as a commentator, not very good. His boy Kevin Burkhardt has a dream job besides Jim Nance, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. Eagles Steelers.
Come on, it's not that hard. Especially with the Steelers without Pickens.
But that defense is still good. Eagles have a good offensive line. They don't do that well with the blitz sometimes, though. I think I love Jordan Mailata. I love Lane Johnson, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. It's making me that makes me nervous. That those two guys, they're very, very good. I'm gonna go with the under. Give me the Eagles in the under.
So the Eagles giving 5, but the under 42.5.
Correct.
All right. See, I thought you were going to be a little gutless. I'll be honest. I was just saying to Dave, I was mouthing to him. I was like, is he going to be gutless and pick the Steelers here and
just to avoid picking your own team?
Just to avoid picking your own team. Be like, no, you can't be that way. And again, the Steelers are doing very well. They're going to be a playoff team, 10-3. Way better than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be about a 9-10 win team.
Always figure they're above 500.
Yeah, 9-10 win team, but I didn't think they're going to be. They're going to be close to like a 13 win team this year, and I just didn't see that coming. But they are, and again, coaching. We'll go back to that. We'll beat that mantra today. Coaching matters, but in this game, talent matters too, and the Eagles got more of it, I think. And they're home. Give me the Eagles, and. Weirdly enough, I'm gonna say I think under.
I think you gotta go with the under in this game.
I think I'm going under again, yeah. So I'm going Eagles in the under. So I'm gonna agree with Ryan.
So I'm with both of you when it comes down to going with the under. But I'm going to take Pittsburgh getting the 5, but I do think Philly wins. I just think they win by 3.
Okay.
So just to be clear here, I'm not picking the Steelers to win. I just think it's too close of a game to go with the 5, so I'm going to go 3.
Respectable.
Yeah, but actually, so you got two more games now. I think the one above that one is. I mean, you got two teams that are fighting for the playoffs. So
yeah,
you got a lot of
425 slot. That is a big slot this week.
Yeah, this will be a time where I'll actually want to sit and pay attention to all the 4:00 games. Red Zone will come in quite wonderfully this coming Sunday afternoon.
Have it up on the laptop.
My man, there you go. But yeah, you got Tampa Bay at Los Angeles. I almost said San Diego. Apologize for the delay there.
San Diego Superchargers.
But Tampa Bay is a team that looks really good at times, looks really bad other times. Like Baker Mayfield is this guy that we like. I mean, I don't know what to make of the guy. He has game that Raiders game. Like, I had him in fantasy, and I needed a win, and then I needed other people. Like, I mean, I was holding on by shoestrings for a chance to make the playoffs. But anyway, so Tampa Bay goes up 14-0. They're moving the ball like clockwork, and then we got, 3 interceptions, a fumble loss. They got 4 turnovers. Like, they fall apart, let the Raiders back in, and they pull ahead enough to come away with the win. The Chargers lost a nail-biter with the Chiefs. Looking at this game, you have two teams that play different style of football, right? Tampa Bay wants to throw the ball and then mix in the run. The Chargers want to run the ball and mix in the throw. Both teams have decent defenses. So you got the Chargers giving 3 to Tampa Bay, over under 45.5. Ooh, this is a hard one to pick. I gotta say, this is a hard one to pick.
Pretty much on a neutral field would be a pickup game.
Yeah. Give me the Chargers giving the 3 points, and give me the over, because I think the Chargers are going to throw the ball a lot. So, yeah. Give me the Chargers giving 3 and the over. Eric, go ahead.
I'm going, I think, with you on the over, but I'm going to take the Bucks getting the 3. I think it could be a close game, but if it is, I'd prefer to be getting the 3 with the Bucks. Yeah, I just again real close, and I think the Bucks again fighting with Atlanta for top of that division. They need the game, and not that the Chargers don't, but I just think that the Bucks need a little bit more. So, give me the Bucks getting the points, and I'm gonna go with the under.
Ryan, what you got, my man? So Chargers giving 3 at home and over under is 45.5.
Chargers in the over.
He's
I'm a Charger.
with confidence. With
Okay.
confidence. There was no hesitation. That was confidence right there, Ryan. I love it.
I think the Chargers are a sleeper team. I mean, they have 8 wins, and I'm calling them a sleeper team.
I could see that. I mean, with all the other big name teams out there, they're kind of flying under the radar. Harbaugh's first year. They need another wide receiver. McConkey, I mean, the kid's good, but he should not be a number 1. Like he's not meant for that role. He's meant for a 2-3 role, and he could dominate people. He should not be a number 1 though, in my eyes at least.
He's the new Wes Welker.
Exactly. So you need somebody. He's really a slot guy, like that slot guy. Maybe put him against their number 2 corner instead of the 1. But talking about teams with wide receivers galore. You're looking at our 8:20 Sunday night game. Finally, a good, a Sunday night game that really has some oomph to it. I feel like the last couple of weeks
Playoff
really
implications too.
You got Green Bay traveling to Seattle, so they got to not only take on the Seahawks but the 12th man, which really hasn't been the same since the Legion of Boom got broken apart. But still, Seattle 12th man. That you got to respect them for that. Those fans are as loud and passionate as they get. So Green Bay going to Seattle. Green Bay's getting 3, and our over/under is 45.5. Ryan, we're going to start with you on this one because you had so much confidence in that Chargers Bucks pick.
And now you give me a game with no confidence.
I know what I'm doing here.
I don't trust either quarterback. So I take the points with Seattle and under 45.5.
So Seattle getting the 3 and the under?
Yep.
Okay. Eric, what do you got?
I'm taking Green Bay. I think they're coming in off a tough loss last week. And they're going to want to show that they got something to it. So give me Green Bay. And again, I think this is a game I'm going to take the over. Go over in this one. I think they can both score. Give me the Packers. Give me the over.
So Seattle looked like they kind of figured out a run game last week, and I know for a lot of Kenneth Walker fantasy owners, they were pretty pissed that they were able to run the ball like that, like after all season, like not really being able to do it. So maybe Seattle found something in that run game, and if they did, then this Seattle offense can be pretty damn dangerous. Green Bay knows who they are. Feed Josh Jacobs, play action. They know what their offense is. And defensively, I think they still lead the league in turnovers force. So I think this is a push because I think Green Bay wins by 3. And I'm going to take the over. So I don't know if you guys will allow me to go with the push on the spread. If you are, that's what I'm going to take.
That's a cheap way out.
That's a cheap
I gotta
way.
I gotta be honest. That's
All right.
I think you gotta pick
All right,
it.
so then give me Green Bay. Yeah, give me Green Bay. Give me the over. I think Green Bay is the better of the 2 teams.
See, I'm okay with the push because I'm so torn between the 2. I think the game's such a coin flip. It's which quarterback the last mistake.
Yeah, I definitely could see this game going either way.
Geno Smith makes a lot of mistakes. So does Jordan Love. So it's who makes the last mistake, and the game is such a coin flip to me. But like you just said, another good Sunday night game. Last week, the Chiefs Chargers, good Sunday night game. This game, good Sunday night game.
So, all right, with all that said, I think we got picks done for the week. We're not going to pick these Monday night games, even though there's 2 of them. Why are we this late in the year having 2 Monday night games? Stupid. But you know what else is stupid? And we're going to get into this right now. And I'm going to call it the Knuckleheaded News news of the week. How the hell does Alabama not get in? They were in last week with the explanation from the committee being that they had more quality wins, a better strength of schedule. They had won 3 out of their 4 games against top 25 teams. That's why they were in over teams like Miami, who was a 2-loss team, blah, 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 blah. And then now SMU, who is now a 2-loss team, 11-2. I get it that they were higher up in the rankings, 3, 4, whatever they were. But they lose to Clemson, who Clemson hasn't been a very good team this year. They've been okay, but not really great. And SMU gets into the playoffs having beaten 0 ranked teams. 0. It's bullshit. And I'm sorry that I really feel like, especially when you look at this, they've got to redesign this a little bit because Arizona State should not be getting a bye in the first round. I'm sorry. I know they won their conference, but they should not be getting a bye in the first round. They're going to get their asses handed to them by Texas in the second round. In the quarterfinals, they're getting walloped by Texas. You're going to have Tennessee, Ohio State's a really good game. SMU is going to get bitch slapped by Penn State. It's not even going to be bitter Alabama fan because Alabama would put up a much better fight against Penn State. That would actually be a game that people would tune into. Nobody's tuning in for SMU Penn State. I'm sorry.
Ryan is.
It is absolute garbage. Again, but he's a Penn State fan, so that's why. I get it. But that is garbage. And the Penn State, to me, has the easiest route to the national championship of anybody. The only game they got to worry about is the semifinals because they're going to run up against Georgia. But if they can get past Georgia, they're going to beat SMU. They're going to beat Boise State, even with Ashton Jeffrey, or what?
Genty.
Genty. I think Jeanty, something like that. Either way, kid's probably a Heisman Trophy winner. He came, I think, 134 yards short of the NCAA record, like college football record for rushing yards in a season. And I think he didn't even play for 8 quarters of the year because they were up by so much he got taken out in the 4th quarter. So I get it, the kid's special. But SMU getting in over Alabama is an absolute travesty. And I look at these standings now, and to me, you could end up with 3 of the top 4 teams, depending on how the Tennessee-Ohio State game goes. I think the winner of that game is going to beat Oregon and end up in the semifinals. You could have 3 semifinal teams from the SEC, even with keeping Alabama out, because you're going to have Texas. Texas is with Penn State as having the easiest run to the semifinals. They're going to kick the crap out of Clemson, and they're going to beat up on Arizona State. It's not even going to be again, don't even tune into them. Not even worth watching. Tune into see Texas in the semifinals. That's where it is. And it's the same for Georgia. Tune in to see Georgia in the semifinals. They're probably going to be playing Penn State, who has an easy run. So pretty much I'm calling this the only bracket that it can absolutely be of change whatsoever is Tennessee, Ohio State, and then playing Oregon. That's it. That little section of the bracket is the only thing that's going to stop. Otherwise, Texas is getting there, Georgia's getting there, and Penn State's getting there. Those are 3 of your top 4 finalists. Write it down, send it in. I'd bet the farm, I'd bet the house, I'd bet everything I own on it. Those 3 teams ride into the fucking semifinals.
So, Ryan, was that better or worse than what you expected? I think, to me, it was better. He got away from Bama and just went off about the bracket itself. I'm actually pretty impressed.
And SMU, how does a team that beats no top 25 teams, has 2 losses, and they're in? Come on, stop it.
I mean, Penn State didn't beat any top 10 teams.
He's saying SMU didn't
top
beat
25
any 25
teams. Top 25. 0 top 25 wins for SMU.
Okay. Penn State beat Illinois. Yeah, you're right. I mean...
yeah, I'm right. I know I'm right. It's garbage. And based on what the committee said the week before, them putting SMU in makes absolutely 0 sense. 0.
So... the committee had to go against their word that they said at the beginning of the year and in the last couple of weeks. There's no way they were going against that they weren't going to fault teams for losing in their conference play game. So at that point, SMU is to Clemson in a game where they showed a lot of moxie, good comeback, falling short. I just don't think you can punish them for that. Alabama.
I'm
had
sorry.
some
Then if I'm Alabama, I'm just going to schedule cupcakes and run through the schedule. Like, what's the point? What's the point of a strength of schedule? What's the point in trying to go for tough out of conference games and play against teams like Florida State or play against teams like out there that are known programs? What's the point of doing that? Why not just go play the Louisiana Monroes and all these other garbage schools that SMU is playing and, just ride our way in every season?
Right now, that's how the college football playoffs is set up.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I think something's going to change there. Something will change because, again, like I said, it's a travesty to have Arizona State getting a bye. How the hell does Arizona State get a bye?
They won a power technically.
Technically, but everybody knows that's not a real power conference anymore. They've been stripped down. They're nothing. When Oregon leaves and USC and all these other teams left and went to the Big Ten, and you had Texas and Oklahoma and those teams go to the SEC. And a few teams went to the ACC. So, okay, maybe, but still not enough. Not enough. And there's really two power conferences. There's the Big Ten and the SEC. They're the two power conferences. You see them all over in here. Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas. They're all over the place in here. They're the power conferences. The other conferences are garbage, in my opinion. And you could say it's power five, but it really shouldn't be. If anything, it's a power 4 now. I have no idea what the Pac-12 even is anymore.
It's like 3 teams. It's like BYU, Utah State, and somebody else. But the committee has a lot of work to do. It's the first year. There's always going to be some bugs that they have to kick. That got screwed last year was Florida State. I think the committee has to look at. They have to put more into it. Losses, strength of schedule, games. Because other than that, all you're going to have is teams scheduling cupcake games. They're going to play They'll play their conference schedule, and one cupcake game, or one. Penn State will play, like next year, I think they play Oregon at home. That'll be their big game. And the rest of the cupcake Big Ten games. So I think you're going to see that change over after this year is that the committee is going to have to come out and say, hey, if you're not going to play anybody, you're not going to get in. It's going to be like basketball, and I said this last week. This is going to turn out to be soon where the first team getting in is not going to be undefeated. Undefeated seasons are not going to be around anymore, in my opinion. I think they have to be Oregon's. These teams have to be playing the big teams in their conference and then be scheduling tough out of conference games.
Well, that's what you want, but that's not what this is conducive to.
Correct, and it's set up for not to have that right now. But it's got to change because no offense, no one wants to see.
But do you agree with me that Alabama should have been in over SMU?
No.
Oh,
I do.
I'm sorry.
Well, look, I'm just really quick, Ryan. I apologize for cutting you off. I am more than happy to let you two keep going on this one, but by the time I'm home, it's about. No,
I'm good. I'm good because I'm still bitter that he wouldn't even agree with me that Bama should be in. I gotta be honest, Ryan. I'm a little disappointed there because you can't honestly look at SMU and tell me they should be in.
They were in their conference championship game.
What? That doesn't matter.
To the committee, it does.
I'm sorry. We're gonna agree to disagree here. Even though I think your Penn State's gonna go on a nice run to the semifinals.
I'm nervous. I'm so happy to see those the boys come to State College, Pennsylvania, when it's 38 and sleeting. Next Saturday.
I don't think they're gonna enjoy that experience.
No, and that's what makes this bracket awesome. Okay, you're going to take these Tennessee kids to Ohio State. Not that far. They get some cold weather down there in Tennessee. Those SMU kids have never seen 38 and raining. Okay, Indiana and Notre Dame at nighttime, great. I'm a little pissed off the Penn State games at noon, just because the whiteout night game, Penn State, Happy Valley. I'm a homer.
But again, they're playing SMU. I'm sorry. You can't have me get up for this game. I can't do it. There's nothing that's going to make me go, like you maybe because you're a Penn State person. So I know you're probably pumped up about it. This game is not a primetime game. This is not a good game. This game is a game where you go, where it's not a game. It's not the right game. I don't know.
That's
When you know what it could have been. When you know what it could have been.
That's for Eric not having Alabama in and Penn State not playing at nighttime. You both deserve that little womp womp womp. And me being hungry as hell, I deserve that womp womp womp. So that fit really all three of us in this experience. But I don't mean you guys can keep on going as long as you.
No, we're good for tonight.
but-
We're gonna end the stream here because we hit all the football notes we need to hit. We'll be back tomorrow though. So anybody who might still be listening out there, Ryan, just so you know as well, coming back on tomorrow. I'm gonna be talking baseball with Joey, same time. So if you're interested, you want to talk some baseball, we'll be going live. You can always call back in tomorrow and talk some baseball with us if you want. You're more than welcome. Happy to have you as a part of the show. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, just want to shout out and throw that invite out there. You obviously got my number because you're calling in now. So feel free if you want to call in tomorrow about the same time, 7:00 Eastern, and we're gonna do this again. But we're gonna do baseball. We're gonna do baseball hot stove. A lot happening. So excited to get with Joey and talk that. But yeah, until then, hey Ryan, thank you so much for being here. You got any social media, anything you want to shout out there that you want people to follow?
No, we're good.
All right.
No, we're good.
All right. Well, we
Ryan,
appreciate
the
you,
only
my
thing
friend.
Ryan wants people to follow is us. Like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe, all that stuff.
Do all those fun things for us,
Yeah,
please.
and usually we don't have a squeaking ball, so Eric, I guarantee you will never let that ball be seen by Louie when we're doing a recording. So anybody that's out there,
Well, that ball will just go downstairs now. It won't be an upstairs.
that
ball.
won't be an upstairs ball anymore for at least during show nights. But I'm on the Twitter, also known as X, David Hastings 23 and D Hastings 23 on the IG. And I'm also a very hungry man. So, Ryan, appreciate you as always, my man. Glad you're doing well and on with us, my man. And we'll talk with you soon.
Talk to you soon, guys. Thank you.
Have a good one. Like I said, if you're free tomorrow and want to, let me know.
All right, we'll do. I'll text you.
All right. Thank you. And
See ya.
yeah, as far as I go, you can follow me on X at The Living Legend. You can follow Louie at Louie Aussie Dude if you want to know the guy we've been petting and squeaking balls around here with, playing fetch with. That's our buddy Louie. He's our unofficial mascot and fourth host. You can follow us at Die on This Hill on YouTube. Please help us get to 50 subscribers, trying to get there by the end of the year. And yeah, until then, till next time, till tomorrow. When I'm back with Joey D. What do we say?
You gotta say it.
Come on. Don't be afraid to have an opinion and die on this hill.
Let's go, baby.